For the second time this season, we give a big Texas howdy as we make to the Circuit of the Americas for Toyota GR Cup North America at one of the most premier racing destinations in all of the United States. DJ Clark up in the commentary booth alongside Jonathan Grace for round 3 of our GR Cup racing action. We've already seen some storylines start to develop, Jonathan, but at a track like COTA, absolutely anything can happen.
Yeah, we've seen it be already super side-by-side in practice sessions, in qualifying, and I think that's one of the main points because the action and the chaos has started before we even go green, DJ. It's a warm and humid Texas atmosphere, as you'd expect in this part of the country, but the tricky conditions certainly caught people out, especially Liam Harrison in qualifying, and that mixed up the order for the race today.
Yeah, big storyline there. 109 degrees Fahrenheit on this track. Drivers are going to have to be a little bit wary on those Continental tires. Make sure everything is okay. We take a look at that starting grid. We take a look at the drivers aligned down there, and we've got to talk about the front here. Jeremy Fletcher and Ethan Ayres in those starting positions for the two protagonists we thought going into the season with Copeland Motorsports and BSI, but Spike Kohlbecker, 3 out of 4 wins thus far this season. Kohlbecker only 4th in qualifying.
Yeah, but we've seen how quickly things can change and shuffle inside the top 5. I think Spike Kohlbecker will look to make his way to the 4 nice and early on. Plenty of opportunities to pass around the circuit. We'll get to that in a second. But for Jeremy Fletcher, job done in qualifying. A weekend to forget overall in Sonoma. 2 races that kind of unraveled. He needed to come into COTA with another 1-2 punch because he was so successful on the streets of Arlington. He was the quickest man on track all weekend. Came away with one of the 2 wins there. But if he wants to mount a challenge to Spike Kohlbecker in the title fight this season, this is how you do it. You start on pole, but you need to maintain that position, and that's half the battle, DJ.
Yeah, a bit of a shot across the bow, I think, is the best way to describe this for Fletcher. Looking back through the grid, we see plenty of these drivers geared up and ready to go. Taking back a look there at 10th place position. That is the number 10, fittingly as it were, ready to roll off. And we get ready to take a look at this track map. Jonathan, there are over 9 to 13 stories of elevation coming into this first corner, and then from there on out, it is a who's who in terms of the greatest racing circuits in the world.
Yeah, it really is. It's a combination of things. Herman Tilke really put together a treat, a very special facility here just outside of Austin, Texas. That climb up to turn 1, and then my favorite section of the racetrack, turns 2 all the way up the hill towards turn 9, the S's section. There are tire bollards between 3 and 5 to discourage cutting track limits, but we don't typically see cars going side by side, but I think if there's any series this weekend that could do it, probably these GR Cup cars along straightaway and then a very technical Sector 3 too.
Yeah, and that technical Sector 3 kind of modeled a little bit after Hockenheim Sector 1. Those S's modeled a little bit after the Maggots and Beckett's complex at Silverstone. We see pieces from other great circuits around the world, including Bahrain on this as well. Really, really special place. And of course, you got to talk about the big American flag that's hanging up there. But let's talk a little bit about some of the mid-pack drivers as we had a abridged qualifying, let us say, an incident taking place and getting pushed down through the order as that. Nathan Dupuis, by the way, want to draw attention to him, racing for autism awareness here this weekend, a very cause that is very close to his heart. But back to qualifying, a bridge session. Some of the drivers, particularly looking at the likes of Max Schweid, all the way down in 16th position.
Yeah, Max Schweid is going to have his work cut out for him. Plenty of places to overtake on this racing circuit, DJ, as we've seen, 3.426 miles. It's a lot of real estate. That back straight alone is over half a mile long, a full kilometer in length for these GR Cup cars to try to make their way past. But part of the danger there is you might get repassed. So you have to be crafty about where you start to set up moves and make moves. But he's one, I think, of the many competitors that will be looking to make up ground. I've got my eye on Beltray Curtis as well, starting inside the top 10 in 9th. A little bit of misfortune here and there, but Will Robusto towards the sharp end of the grid as well. Not as high in the qualifying order as he may have liked, but he's 2nd in points right now. He's also going to look to maximize this weekend.
Well, only back down in 20th position. He's going to have a lot of ground to try to make up here, but if anybody can do it, it is Will Robusto. We've seen him be hyper-aggressive and move his way up forward. It's going to be an interesting race. I think there's a lot of folks that have a lot to try to do, and of course, we're going to be keeping our eye on that WEX Legends Cup as well. Great view there of that tower, but we're ready to go down to the grid.
Start your engines.
And that is Luis Angenscheit, the Senior Agile Project Manager for Endava, giving us the command to start engines. Jeremy Fletcher ready to bring us around. It's racing time here for Toyota GR Cup North America.
Yeah, it certainly is, DJ. I'm so curious. You have some competitors in the championship fight at the sharp end. You have some competitors mid-pack, and then we mentioned Will Robusto further afield all the way down the order. It's going to be a matter of how quickly, how efficiently can you maximize your way carving through the field. Do yellow flags play a factor in this race as well? If we see any stoppages, that could help some of the drivers trying to make their way up through the order, because you'll have to bunch the field up and start again. Another one I want to talk about too, Nico Colby, debut professional racing weekend. Just 14 years of age, qualified 5th on merit. Absolutely phenomenal.
And there we see the field make their way up Big Red, as it has been dubbed here. Plenty of drivers eager to make their way up forward. As we've already talked about, there's Peyton Fan. She's had a rough run of a couple of races. She'll be looking to be able to get her way up forward and see what she can do. This is the run down the hill into those S's that you love so much, Jonathan. And this is an area where we will see that 2 or 3 wide. But let's go ahead and run us through the starting grid. As we said, Jeremy Fletcher and Ethan Ayers, Copeland Motorsports BSI Racing on the front row. As we move back into row 2, it's all Tech Sport Racing with Malbec Ramos and the driver who has won 3 of 4 races, Spike Kohlbecker. Nico Colby, debutant here for Copeland Motorsports, starts 5, then it's Ethan Goulart to his outside. Moving back, it's another Tech Sport driver in Parker DeLong, then Garrett Maines of Sim Racing fame for RVA Graphics Motorsport by Speed Syndicate. Beltre Curtis will start 9th, and Joseph Malley will be 10th.
Michael Edwards starts the 6th row of the grid in 11th, with Jensen Sophonis, an impressive qualifying effort for him in 12th in that beautiful Mobil 1 livery car. Nathan Dupuis losing some spots with a penalty will start 13th alongside Massimo Sinceri, BSI Racing, overcoming a fire to get to this race. Emilio Dolaro in the 007 is 15th alongside Max Schweid. Look for him to carve up the order from 16th. Behind, Rafa Racing's Maite Caceres in the 812 has Patrick Brunson. He has been so quick in that 93 machine, hasn't he, throughout the course of this season for Eagles Canyon. Good qualifying effort for Ava Schlitz in the 85. She's 19th with championship rival Will Robusto from Spike Kohlbecker starting 20th. Carter Wilson 21st. Peyton Fan has had a couple good comeback efforts this season. Watch for her starting 22nd. Alcir Arujo starting 23rd in the 77. Andrew Gilliland in the 86 for Dream Machine at Eagles Canyon is 24th. 25th, Tom Rudnai. And further back in the field, we see the final row of the grid made up of Jay Thomas and Ryan Power. Liam Harrison, who caused the red flag, starting 26th.
All right, here they come down through turn 12 right now into 13. This is an area where you're going to expect to see a lot of side-by-side action as they come on through. Bringing their way now through this stadium section, as we said, kind of modeled after the Hockenheim ring. And there is Carolina Arbiza Ferreira, Senior Development Ops Engineer at Endava. She's going to be waving the flag for us here. Always glad to have our partners from Endava here at Circuit of the Americas. Coming through the carousel right now, Jonathan, any final thoughts before we get racing?
Yeah, it's just a matter of how clean do you keep it at the start. I think the start is going to be so crucial for the likes of Max Schwein, for the likes of Will Robusto. You can see him just finally coming in to the screen there in that red and white RVA Graphics car. You have to keep it clean, but you want to maximize. Try to make up as many positions as you can with the grid bunched up. All
right, it's Fletcher and Ayers, Copeland Motorsport and BSI Racing, with a pack of very hungry Tech Sport drivers behind them in the form of Malbec Ramos and Spike Kohlbecker. It's a lot of blue up front, but we're looking for the green as they make their way onto the main straightaway. 2 columns of Toyota GR Cup cars ready to take to the track, and we wait for that green flag to fly, looking towards the flag stand, and there it is. We are green here in Circuit of the Americas. Fletcher looks like he's able to get a good getaway, but trying to fight around the outside will be Ethan Ayers. They fan out coming up the hill. Kohlbecker trying to be very conservative, but that's going to be cars moving their way up to the inside. Well, already we've got cars going off wide. Kohlbecker in a fight for 4th right now.
Everybody's seeming to keep it on track, but a dream start for Jeremy Fletcher. That's exactly what he needs. Let the 3 blue cars behind fight it out for position as they go single file. This is where Jeremy Fletcher needs to get on the afterburners and try to scamper away a little bit at the front of this field.
Yeah, I think that was Nico Colby for Copeland Motorsports trying to fight a little bit up on his teammate. There you see some of those bollards that we were talking about, dissuading drivers from cutting the course in that area. Leading away right now is Jeremy Fletcher. Up behind, this is where you start to see Kohlbecker really reel this field in. A little bit of side-by-side farther back in the field. That's one of the precision drivers trying to work their way around the outside. I think that's Parker DeLong. And there we've got a little bit of side-by-side farther back in the field. Excuse me, that's Curry and Maines trying to sort them, or Curtis and Maines trying to sort themselves out. And 2x2 farther back in the field is, as promised, Max Schweid making moves early.
Also making moves, Will Robusto up 6 positions in just a couple of corners. He's up to 14th, DJ.
That's exactly what we expect out of Will Robusto. Here they come down the back straightaway, fanning out a little bit more. Kohlbecker on the back of his teammate Malbec Ramos, trying to make a little bit of moves farther back in the field. We've still got drivers stacked up 2x2. Here they come down into the braking zone, and here comes Kohlbecker.
Yeah, Kohlbecker on the move early. He's being patient. He's not getting hasty. That's the mark of a good driver. He's got 3 wins under his belt this season. The last thing you want to do is throw it away and give Jeremy Fletcher a freebie.
Oh, but contact there with his tech sport teammate of Malbec Ramos. Nico Colby looking on strong here, and Ethan Goulart says, I'd like a piece of that, please. Goes for the crossover move down to the inside of the young Copeland Motorsport driver. That was some slick stuff. Shame it didn't pay out.
Yeah, Kohlbecker now solidly up to 3rd with a little bit of breathing room, a little bit of a gap, but the front 2, Jeremy Fletcher and Ethan Ayers, just a little bit further up the road. Further back, Ethan Goulart in that Indava liveried car that donned Weston Workman last year, the champion, the reigning champion in this field. Yellow flag, though, DJ, is out.
Yes, it is, and that is a stopped car. That's Liam Harrison, the same car that drew out a caution flag and a D-Day red flag in the earlier race. This does, or in the earlier qualifying session. Can't tell if there's any damage on that Black Dog Racing machine, but it is stopped at the beginning of the back straightaway.
Yeah, that's exactly what the likes of Max Schweid and Will Robusto will have actually liked to see. They've done a lot of good job of making their way up the order early. Robusto, in fact, all the way up to 12th position. Pretty remarkable. 8 spots gained. Max Schweid just in front of them. I think that's going to get spicy as they get towards the front end of the field. But for now, they want to pull each other through. This restart, when we do go green again, is going to be a big one for them.
Yeah, it is. What are your thoughts thus far? Spike Kohlbecker, we really were focusing in on him quite a bit there. That controlled aggression, sign of a good driver, as you said. I like what I'm seeing here from the Tech Sport Racing driver.
Yeah, he's kind of taken the Weston Workman approach from last year, right? Sometimes you just need to wait. You don't need to be super over-ambitious with making all the big moves early on. Consistency over the course of a season wins championships. He's won 3 of 4, DJ. He's in a solid points lead. Your main championship rival is further down the field. And yes, the guy you were fighting with early in the points is at the front of the field, but you need to be patient. There's a lot of racing left today, a lot of racing left this season, a lot of racing left even over the course of this COTA weekend. He's made 1 spot early. He's in the right spot. You want to be there at the end, but to do that, you need to keep the nose clean.
I got to agree with you there fully, and impressive stuff, as you already said, from Robusto. Max Schweid up into 11th as well. That'll be good running there for them. Nico Colby holding his own. Let's talk a little bit about this driver. We said briefly that this was his professional racing debut. What we didn't mention is he is a mere 14 years old.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. I don't know what you were doing in 8th grade, but I certainly wasn't racing professionally, much less commentating anything, amateur or professional. So really, really a commendable effort this season. He finished mid-pack in practice, which is incredible in and of itself. If he did that and that was the only accomplishment in the weekend, job done, great weekend. Qualified 5th, unbelievable. And he's held his own against some veteran drivers as well. We know how fast Parker DeLong and Ethan Goulart or Garrett Maines have been. Beltray Curtis, he's got some really serious driving talent around him, and he's holding his own.
Yeah, he is. He's doing a great job. And like you said, I mean, that talent coming up from behind him, we saw Parker DeLong try to send some moves around him, around the outside here and there, and didn't blink at it. I think it's very easy for a young driver like that to get a little bit scared, get a little bit in their head, and try to dive out of the way. That is Will Robusto and that RVA Graphics Motorsport by Speed Syndicate machine. Robusto, we've already talked about, up so many positions, and this is what he's got to do. He's got to get himself into the points. He's got to be aggressive. He's got to put the moves on as quickly as possible so he doesn't lose too much as a result of this abridged qualifying.
Yeah, I completely agree. When you look at the overall context of the championship, he's 32 points back from Spike Kohlbecker after Kohlbecker's dream start to this season, but Max Schweid is just behind. 61 points total for Robusto, 57 for Schweid. The two of them linked together on track, but you need to maximize this weekend. You need to catch Spike Kohlbecker. You need to finish in front of him, even if it's one position. Any little bit helps.
Yeah, any little bit can help, and it does look like here that the Toyota GR86 safety car has pulled away. And there we can see just those advantages. I also want to give a big shout out there to Power, back down in 17th position. The 865 of Ryan Power doing a great job. But we are back under green flag conditions, and the top four look like they've broken away. Already Nico Colby under a little bit of a defense there as Parker DeLong tries to go around his outside. Not seeing any movement from the front, but the green flag flies once more. Here comes the move from Ethan Ayres.
Yeah, Fletcher had to go way defensive to the inside. This can be a really tricky problem area. It's actually Kohlbecker who's probably in the best position here as they go 3 wide on exit. Kohlbecker gets shuffled, tucks back in line down the hill to 2.
And for all of that talk about Nico Colby, it looks like he's lost at least one position to Parker DeLong. Ethan Goulart may try to send one in on him as well. The top four still in a little bit of a breakaway. Colby has been able to hold on to 6th place, so no problems there. Alternate lines coming down through turn 6. A little bit interesting.
It is. Spike Kohlbecker looks the most comfortable of these 3, though. He is absolutely pushing Ethan Ayres through the corners. He's being patient. He knows he has a lot of pace in hand. It's just a matter of when he times those moves to the front of the field, but you don't want to be hasty.
And you see that on the top of your screen. Race Control saying that the restart is under review. So we will take a look at that. They will take a look at that, rather, and decide what to do. Kohlbecker takes a little half-hearted look down to the inside of Ethan Ayres. Nico Colby goes a little bit defensive. Meanwhile, farther in the back, Beltre Curtis trying to send some moves side by side there between the 11 and the 72 of Goulart and Maines.
Yeah, and that's going to help Nico Colby actually stay in front a little bit if the competitors behind continue to fight. But Spike Kohlbecker, I think, just feigning that move. Now he's gone to the outside of the track as Fletcher comes under just a little bit of pressure from Ethan Ayres. Is it enough pressure to make a move, though?
He's going to think about it. Ayres goes to the outside. Kohlbecker's going to follow right in line. If they get side by side, Kohlbecker will certainly be licking his chops. Nothing there. He thought about a little bit of a crossover. Couldn't get it done. Now swings very wide. Does Ethan Ayres. He is poking and prodding.
There's your line variation. I have loved watching these GR86 Cup cars explore the limits of grip in this 3rd stadium section. It's so technical. There's so many different lines you can take, not really into this corner, but through that 13-14 complex, people can get really creative as they set up for this beautiful sweeping multiple apex 17 and 18 complex.
And what was 4 is now 5 as Parker DeLong is joined up to the back of this battle. Look at this farther back in the field. That's the 72 of Goulart and the 2 of Robusto trying to be able to hold themselves out directly behind them. That's Malley trying to be able to see if they can get anything in there. Joseph not able to get it done. Meanwhile, at the front, this is the number 5 machine of Beltre Curtis trying to hold themselves together. Here's Goulart, here's Robusto. This is what we expected with them coming through the field.
Yeah, Robusto already into the top 10. He wants more, though. He wants to catch the leaders as quickly as he can. He knows he has pace. He's been quick all weekend long. He wants to fight at the front.
Again, Ayres with another fade here at the front. I don't know if this is defensive or offensive, but one way or the other, Kohlbecker's going to try to take his chances. Little shot to the rear bumper. That is okay. That is perfectly within legal bounds. It's a you cannot lock bumpers is the rule. Very wide line there for Ayres. Almost opened up a door for Spike Kohlbecker. Malbec Ramos sitting back in that popcorn position, just waiting for an opportunity to present itself.
Fletcher did a really good job there of not being rattled by the pressure behind. He stuck to the racing line, and that gave him the chance to kind of just gently close the door on Ayres and Kohlbecker behind. Meanwhile, Max Schweid trying to get by Beltre Curtis, but held up a little bit through the S's.
Here's Parker DeLong. We said a good run for him, getting by Nico Colby and attaching himself to the back of this leading quartet. DeLong now just waiting for position, waiting to see if anything will pop off. Here is that battle farther back in the field. This is Garrett Maines under attack from Beltre Curtis.
Yeah, Beltre having to go just a little bit to the inside here. Is it enough into the braking zone up ahead? Young Nico Colby will be rubbing his hands saying, thank you very much, keep on scrapping because I'm trying to catch the leading pack.
And it looks like Curtis was able to get that position away from Maines. Maines may be under attack now from Max Schweid as they thunder down the back straightaway. There's that battle. Oh, I'd take that back. Garrett Maines may be able to hold on to the back here of Beltre Curtis. Again, a big defensive move from Ethan Ayres. Spike Kohlbecker really wants this position. Spike's getting a little frustrated. That was some side-to-side contact.
It was, and Spike just wisely went back to the racing line to try to give himself the minimum apex speed there and get a good launch off the corner. Does he go inside here? No, he stays on that higher line, DJ, but that gives him the inside here. Chopping the nose off, though, just in front of Ethan Ayres. He is making that 78 as wide as it can be.
Yeah, and Malbec Ramos, again, just waiting to pick up the pieces. I'm really impressed with the patience here out of the driver of this number 17 machine.
And the 42 is catching fastest man on track at 2:30.2. We saw the graphic a little while ago. He's on the back of this lead pair. Meanwhile, the 98 continues to go to work. Max Schweid also inside the top 10. Running in 9th, is trying to make moves on Garrett Maines, but he's got Robusto just behind. He's trying to go with him.
Oh, and a big penalty being issued. A drive-through handed down to Parker DeLong for a jumped start. Oh, what a heartbreak. We were just singing the driver's praises there, and he will have to serve a drive-through.
Yeah, that's really going to hurt because he was right. Look, you could see him right there. You could see the leader of the motor race in that same shot. He would be kicking himself because he was so quick. Fastest of anybody right now, and as I say that, Jeremy Fletcher resets the fastest lap with a 2:29.
Yeah, Fletcher out in clean air at this point. The battle's really 4P2 side by side farther back in the field. Schweid and Maines, and it looks like Schweid has finally got the advantage.
Yeah, if you're Will Robusto, you want to make your way past as quickly as possible, though you don't want to let Schweid scamper away. In the context of the championship, Schweid sits 3rd. You don't want to let him get too much of an advantage. Side by side through the exit of the S's. This is a tough patience corner, DJ. You don't typically make a move there.
Yeah, and Maines showing a lot of tenacity to be able to shut that door on Will Robusto. Let's see now as they come up through turn 9. This has been a sneaky overtaking opportunity, and Robusto proving me right. He's going to get a better run out of 9 through the kink of 10. He'll have preferred line coming down into turn 11. Let's see if he's able to make the braking line work. He may lose a little bit of ground to Schweid in front of him, but he gets the move done.
The risk you run here is you have to stay on the racing line and not compromise your exit down that 1 kilometer straightaway. That's a lot of time where your opponent can tuck under the rear wing and use what's admittedly a small hole in the air to try to gain an advantage.
Yeah. Now as we watch him thunder down the back straightaway once more, trying to wait and see if there's going to be any movement. Fletcher now the one going a little bit defensive. Nico Colby doing the same thing under pressure from Beltre Curtis. Curtis looks around the outside of the young 14-year-old for Copeland Motorsports. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get that run, but that's opened up a little bit of a door for Max Schweid. Meanwhile, Spike Kohlbecker holding in position. Look at this, 3 wide coming through the stadium.
And here come Max Schweid. I think this is going to get really spicy because Max Schweid is not afraid to throw a move in an atypical part of the track, going way to the outside and then tucking under the rear wing. But here's Beltre Curtis. It's going to be a drag race to corner entry here for the stadium section. Schweid not wasting any time. He wants to make it 3 wide as Beltre Curtis is into the marbles.
Really heads up stuff there from Schweid, getting that preferred line through 16, 17, and 18 as they come down now into turn 19. We're going to take a look at the replay of the restart here and watch the 42.
Yeah, a lot of movement there. He has pulled out a line.
And the rule is you are not allowed to pass the driver in front of you until you come to the line, to that start line. That is where DeLong fell afoul. Side by side, Robusto and Curtis.
Yeah, Robusto trying to get the move done. Has done a good job of leapfrogging sideways as Beltre Curtis keeps it collected. And this is going to unleash the driver of the 2. How quickly does he catch this leading pack? I have a feeling it's going to be pretty swift because he now sits 7th.
He's got to be a little bit careful. I did see all 4 tires leave that outside white line for Robusto, and that could be deemed as gaining an advantage by going off track. We'll wait and see what race control says. Yep, there it is. Track limit warning given to driver of the number 2, Will Robusto.
It can be so difficult to keep all of that in the back of your mind as a racing driver when you're seeing the red mist and kicking up a little bit of dirt, collects it though as he climbs the hill. It's 9 and 10, and he's now got young Nico Colby in his sights, trying to sneak up the inside of turn 10. Will keep all 4 tires on the racetrack just barely, but he'll do it into the braking zone.
Robusto really likes this move. Out of 9, getting a little bit of a better run and taking that inside line away into 10 and then setting himself up for the back straightaway. It's a heads-up play. It's not normally an area you see that overtake, and I think it's definitely separating driver of the number 2 RVA Graphics Motorsport machine.
Something interesting to me, Jeremy Fletcher continues to be the fastest man on track, a 2:29 now flat. He has cut that fastest lap time down significantly, but these 2 behind who continue to battle out have not gone anywhere. Spike Kohlbecker trying to make his move up to 2nd place, and he finally does it, if by a nose hair.
He's able to get it done. Ayers is going to try to fight back here, but I think Kohlbecker's just got a little bit too much momentum. Now, to your point about that fastest run, I wonder what Kohlbecker's going to be able to do now that he's been freed from his teammate in the 78.
Yeah, he's had to look at the back wing of that 78 for so long now. This unleashes his pace all the while he was making that move. He did the fastest second sector of the race from anybody on track. So how does he catch the leader? We'll have to see in a couple laps time. Meanwhile, the 98 running in clear air, but the 2 of Will Robusto is catching him behind.
Yep, Robusto starting to close in. Good run, though, has to be said for Max Schweid. Up into 5th place, got a little bit of breathing room. He can settle down for a moment and just focus on those entrances and exits, making sure he maximizes lap time. I think it's just a matter of when, not if, he's going to catch up to the back here of Ethan Ayers and Malbec Ramos.
Pretty remarkable how quickly these two have carved their way through the field. Remember, Will Robusto started 20th position, yeah. DJ. Unbelievable that he's up to 6th already, and we still have the better part of half an hour to go.
Yeah. Oh, big move farther back in the field. That's around Garrett Maines, Ethan Goulart, and Malley as they try to get through the corner. Little bit of a shove to the outside there for Goulart. Not sure if everybody's going to like the look of that, but Maines able to fight back down to the inside.
I was going to say, coming into the corner, it looked like advantage Ethan Goulart, but Garrett Maines did a good job of fighting that. Hard to go side by side through here. Somehow they find a way, but Garrett Maines doing a good job of having nerves of steel, and all of a sudden Ethan Goulart is going to lose 2 positions and maybe 3.
Yeah, loses that to Joseph Malley. No, gets it back from him. My goodness. And then I believe that's the 21 of Michael Edwards that has been able to close on in. As you and Ryan pointed out, yes, it is the same Edwards family that you are thinking of. Wonderful to have that family tradition carrying on here. And been impressed from what I see from young Michael.
Robusto with some action further behind. There goes Beltre Curtis. We know how quick he is, making the move on Nico Colby behind Ethan Goulart. Still under a fair amount of pressure, it has to be said, from Joseph Malley. That trio of cars breaking away. Meanwhile, up front, they've started to fan out just a little bit here. Will Robusto, timing and scoring-wise, looks to have plummeted through the order. Curious if that's just a transponder issue or if that's an actual issue on track.
We'll try to get an answer to that. Kohlbecker does hold the fastest lap of the race. It appears to be just a transponder issue as Robusto's come back up to the top. That got us very excited up here in the commentary booth for a second. But as promised, Kohlbecker's starting to reel in, the gap under a second. But I've got to give credit here to Fletcher. He has responded in a big way. I mean, setting a personal best through Sector 2, I think has been enough to maybe blunt an attack here from Spike Kohlbecker for the moment. We still have just under 27 minutes to go in this race.
They are pushing and continuing to reel off purple sector times. I do wonder if there's any element at all in this of tire saving. You want a little bit of Continental tire for the end of the race. It's a pretty robust piece of rubber and allows these cars to be both lively and make it the full race distance while still going wheel to wheel, which is impressive, but you can't burn all the tire life off in the opening couple of minutes. You can see that 2 car of Will Robusto has been through the wars just a little bit as he's battled his way up through the order, but it's worked nicely for him. He's up to 6th.
Well, and we said it before, we'll say it again, 109 degrees, probably up to about 110 at this point, track temperature right now. That is toasty. I don't care if it's a dry heat, which this is not, but 110 degrees is very, very hot. You've got to be worried about tire wear with track temperatures that high.
Yeah, you can see it actually in the next couple of shots here down through the S's. These cars in the back end will get a little bit lively, a little bit squirrely as it's a little bit greasy, but it's so fun to watch these GR86 Cup cars just dance over the candy striping, dance over the curbs. Some changes to the curbs made overnight earlier in the weekend allows these drivers to flatline those corners a little bit more, carry a little bit more speed, and hopefully gain a little bit more momentum up the hill that we're seeing now.
All right, Jeremy Fletcher continues to respond up at the front. Spike Kohlbecker now 1.3 seconds behind. We watch Beltre Curtis holding off an attack here from Nico Colby. Colby has fallen down through the order from where he started up in that 5th place spot, but still, once again, I'm going to come back to this. For a 14-year-old making his professional motorsports debut, I'm very impressed. Let's jump back in the field here a little bit more. That is Thomas and Delario. This is for about 17th.
That's one thing I love about this GR86 Cup field. It doesn't matter where you are in the order. They're fighting like it's the last lap of a championship battle. That's how tight these cars run. Identical machinery, super heavily production-based, and this is going to slow things down. It's one of the BSI racing cars in the tire barrier.
I believe that's Arujo that we see.
Yes, he was. From the lead of the Legends class as well.
Yeah. Ooh, this is a hard hit there to the outside. You can see that Tech Pro barrier has been moved, although he is going to be able to get up and go. Maybe not as hard as we thought.
And through the gravel trap. How about it? Maybe it was just enough of a tap to move the barriers.
Yeah. All right, we check back in on the lead of this race. Jeremy Fletcher holding on. No, full course yellow has been displayed.
Well, this is going to help Will Robusto, isn't it? We talked about the presence of yellows for Max Schwein. For Will Robusto, this is going to close them right onto the back of Malbec Ramos. And for Spike Kohlbecker, job done in terms of catching Jeremy Fletcher. He's been the fastest man on track. He's brought that fast lap time down to a 2-minute 28.855. He's going to be right on the rear wing of the race leader when we go green again.
Well, and something that we haven't seen take place here is the duel up at the front between Kohlbecker and Fletcher.
Absolutely.
We saw this take place back in Arlington in our opening rounds. As you mentioned a little bit earlier, not the best running for Fletcher back in Sonoma. This is a little bit of return to form as we also take a look at the biggest movers. I want to give credit here. Look at that. Sophronis and Power both up 14 on the day.
Yeah, huge. Sophronis has been a really impressive force this season, obviously learning from his father and everyone under the GMG stable, but he has made an enormous leap from last season until this season. I know he spent a lot of time in a bunch of different race cars, now choosing to compete on the GR86 Cup grid again and doing a really great job of it. He's run solidly mid-pack a lot of the season, which if you're looking at a lot of racing series, you may kind of scoff at. No, not absolutely. This is an uber competitive grid. These cars are all identical. It's just down to the driver inside. Very narrow setup window. To be competitive at all in this series is really difficult. And he's had some really solid top 10 finishes and even top 5 finishes this season.
Here's another one of those BSI racing drivers, the 865 of Ryan Power. Always love to see a purple livery. Always a personal favorite of mine, but that is directly, he is technically categorized as your biggest mover as he is farther up the field than Jensen Sophronis. Sophronis always easy to see in that Mobil 1 livery.
Yeah, and the 865 actually didn't really get to set a representative lap time in qualifying, which is why you're seeing such a quick car carve their way through the field, because the time that you saw that set the grid was not at all indicative of the pace in that 865. But Sophronis has done a great job of rectifying what was a qualifying effort cut short for him as well.
Massimo Sanseri, Nathan Dupuis directly behind them. Sophronis brings the car through turn 11. It does look like we're probably going to be going back to green this time by, as that was a very quick in and out for Arujo, although the lights are still on the safety car, so may not go back right away. I don't know where the exact cutoff line for the lights to go on or off is. Normally it's around the point of turn 12 to turn 13.
Long lap though here at Circuit of the Americas, just under 3.5 miles in 3 very unique sectors, so still a lot of time. You can see Jeremy Fletcher just weaving, trying to get some of that tire pickup scrubbed off of the Continental rubber. Spike Kohlbecker weaving in sympathy, and Ethan Ayers just letting him know he's there, popping into the wing mirrors. That's got to be an element of this too, right? Just reminding your opponent in front, hey, don't forget about me. I'm right on your tail.
Well, so much of this, so much of racing is, of course, the mental game that you have to play. There's a lot of gamesmanship. There's a lot of skullduggery that goes on in between drivers. Just trying to take up space rent-free, as the kids would say. Coming back down through the stadium section. We've talked about this corner a lot on the Twitch side of the broadcast. One of my favorites, very reminiscent of 6 and 7 at Bahrain. Really fun corner, and it does look like that GR86 safety car is going to scamper off into the distance, so Fletcher going to have control of the field. We're going back to green.
Watch Spike Kohlbecker. He's been patient. He's only made a couple of positions from his starting spot, but this is maybe the opportunity to pounce with 20 minutes to go. Alternate
restart line for Fletcher. He will control the field. They come past the alt start finish line. I believe it is out of turn 19. He is able to go at any point he so chooses. They back the field up a little bit more. Again, this is all on Fletcher here. He's able to go when he wants to go. Really backing the field up, and there he gets on the loud pedal and starts to take away.
Good jump already for Ethan Ayers.
Trying to bring things around. And it's going to be single file as they thunder down the main straightaway. A little bit of a snake farther back. Fletcher deciding to go defensive. Kohlbecker's going to follow him.
Really, really defensive. I don't know that you can get much more inside without risking making the corner, and they tap at the apex.
And that, I think, was just a little bit of miscommunication. Also seen in the back there, Beltray Curtis losing a position or two, and it's side by side farther back in the pack between Robusto and Schweid as they try to sort themselves out and gather their way up into the top 5.
Yeah, Robusto's going to make his way past the 98, and they hip and shoulder through the S's. We noticed how hard it is to go side by side through there, and just rubbing wheels with Malbec Ramos as they make their way past those tire bundles.
Yeah, that was a very, very hard hit there, and that has put Schweid now back down into 6th. His competition of Robusto moving his way up into 4th place, so definitely a little bit of a back and forth here. They get through turn 9. Robusto not quite close enough to be able to close in and do his favorite move onto the back of Ethan Ayers. If Robusto and Schweid are able to fight for podiums here, that's going to be impressive. A little bit of a move farther back. That's going to be Ethan Goulart trying to get by Garrett Baines.
Ethan Goulart has been trying to make moves right from the get-go. I'm curious to see what ground he can make up now with just under 20 minutes to go. But Will Robusto is now tantalizingly close to the front of this field, and he is knocking on the door of a podium.
And there's another fade for Fletcher up at the front of the field, just trying to hold that out, be as defensive as possible. Now comes back over to a standard racing line, but Kohlbecker's already the outside line. This is allowing for Ethan Ayers to stay close up behind them, and it's a 3-car breakaway with Robusto trying to close in.
Here comes Spike Kohlbecker to the outside, trying those different lines. You can do that in this section of the racetrack, but does that open the door for Ayers?
Oh, and it does look like there Max Schweid has been able to get by Malbec Ramos. Now takes a look up into the inside of Robusto. It's going to get a little bit touch and go here, but a brilliant move from Max Schweid.
Yeah, if we learned anything from Sonoma, it's that Max Schweid is not afraid to stick the nose in to the inside, to the outside. Doesn't matter what part of a corner, he can be there.
And here's the move from Ayers, trying to close back on the back of Kohlbecker. Looks like behind him, Robusto was able to shut the door on on Max Schweid, so that's not going to pay out. Here they come, thundering down into turn number 9. A little bit of a look at the back there for Schweid. Thought about it, decided not to go for it. Does that open up an opportunity here for Malbec Ramos, or maybe that checkup for Beltray Curtis in 7th?
Huge amount of speed in that that third sector from Ethan Ayers, especially through that carousel. Had to really check up at the end to not run into the back of Spike Kohlbecker.
Here comes Schweid, looking down to the inside of Robusto. He's got the preferred line. He's going to try to just park that car on the apex. Does it beautifully. Schweid up to P4.
These two have to stop fighting. They need to work together to get and pass a little bit of this time to close that gap and close up to the back of Ethan Ayers if they want to fight at the front of this field. The more they squabble, the more that's going to drop them into the clutches of some of the competitors behind.
You're completely right, and the more it's going to allow for the likes of Fletcher, Kohlbecker, and Ayers to scamper off into the distance. Thought there might have been a little bit of a breakaway, but this is what Robusto wants to see. Ramos under attack here from Beltray Curtis.
Yeah, absolutely. And all the while, Robusto and Schweid have stopped fighting just a little bit. Curtis patiently waiting. Is he going to try to spring a trap into 10? No, he'll tuck back in, but does he pop out in the braking zone for 11? He's to the preferred racing line, defensive in front. I think they'll go line to stern, and maybe he'll focus on the braking zone of 12 instead.
Curtis looking for a little bit of a crossover. Big hit in the back there to the rear fender of Malbec Ramos. No harm, no foul. They're going to keep going, though.
Yeah, that was a head full of steam. A great run out of the corner for Beltray Curtis. Maybe too good of a run. Ran into the back, but nobody turned. I think that'll have raised the eyebrows of race control, but no harm, no foul, like you said, DJ. Meanwhile, Fletcher goes defensive, tucks back into the racing line, but Spike Kohlbecker is so close.
Yeah, he is, but not quite close enough to be able to get that move to play. Schweid, meanwhile, in the back, you can see they're broken away a little bit from Robusto. Interesting play for him there. Now, as they come through turns 13 and 14 back out into this stadium section, Kohlbecker thought about a little bit of a move there into turn 15, but decided against it. Wide run for both Kohlbecker and Fletcher, but Fletcher has an advantage of just under 0.5 of a second.
Yeah, Fletcher can just add a couple tenths here, a couple tenths there, and get some clean air between him and Spike Kohlbecker. We've seen him early in the race be the fastest man on track before Spike caught him. That's what you need to do. If you're going to be as focused as ever, now is the time to do it if you're Jeremy Fletcher.
And that indication there is that Kohlbecker does hold on to the fastest lap of the race. Don't think anybody's going to beat it, although I do have to say Schweid had the purple sector 1 on that last lap, so good running there for Max Schweid.
Ethan Ayers now tucked up under the rear wing of Spike Kohlbecker, and he's trying to make a move on the championship leader. Meanwhile, further afield, Ethan Goulart has had to go defensive behind Beltray Curtis. He's got Nick Colby for company, and the youngster's not going anywhere.
Nico Colby, and it looks like there, everybody trying to make it 3 wide. Melbeck Ramos almost 4 wide there, a little bit farther back with the likes of Joseph Mowley, Nico Colby, and Garrett Maines.
Goulart holds position with everybody squabbling behind, but that could turn into a pretty interesting battle as they tuck in line astern through the S's.
All right, through the S's they go, and we are relatively single file as they snake their way through. Again, those big tire ballards, making sure that nobody's going to have any problems. Little bit of a slide there for the 16 of Nico Colby, but he's going to gather it together. That did open up a door, and here comes Garrett Maines to the inside of Melbeck Ramos. They're going to be side by side through 8. Maines is going to get the preferred line through 9, and it's still going to be a drag race down into 11.
With these identical cars, sometimes that's all you need is the car in front just to hold up your competitor a little bit. You can spring the trap and make up a bunch of positions all in one go, and that's what this whole gaggle of cars is trying to do right behind Nico Colby.
Nice run there for Edwards on Joseph Malley, recognizing an opportunity and going for it. That's a really heads-up bit of driving there for Mike. If I remember back to the broadcast, Michael means he's in trouble. Mike is what he prefers.
That's correct. Right, you are there. No trouble here, so it's Mike.
Exactly. Good stuff for him. But here comes Kohlbecker thinking about a move to the outside down into turn number 12. Again, going to hold up in line, but welcome to the party, Max Schweid.
Max Schweid has absolutely joined this conversation. This is going to help Spike Kohlbecker because now Ethan Ayers is going to have to go defensive. Spike Kohlbecker looking a little bit more confident on the brakes, but Ethan Ayers able to hold that tighter line, and this top 4 has gone absolutely together. And look at Ayers close up in the braking zone.
Oh, that was really nice, but he had to check up a little bit, and that allowed for Schweid to close back in on the back. Differing lines through this carousel section. So much of a downhill run through this area of the track. Looks like the 041 has been given a 10-second post-race penalty. That's Nathan Dupuis, who runs in 15th.
Yeah, and he was already hit with an engine change penalty for getting dispensation from race control to swap that engine over before the race started. Lost a couple positions there.
All right, they come back onto the main straightaway with about 12 minutes and 15 seconds left to go. And I'll tell you what, Will Robusto, who sits in the back of the shot there, is praying for. He wants to see this battle really take place. Schweid weaving this way and that way. Kohlbecker looking to the outside. Everybody trying to find a differing line into turn 1.
Yeah, and Fletcher absolutely feeling the pressure from Spike Kohlbecker, Ethan Ayers, and Max Schweid behind. He went so to the inside.
Down to the inside he goes of Ethan Ayers. They are leaning on each other down into the beginning of the S's. They're still going to be side by side. Line favors back to Ethan Ayers, and he'll take the position and hold it.
That was so hairy through the S's. DJ tugs back in, but Max Schweid is not going anywhere. Watch him up the hill.
Watch him up the hill, indeed. Maybe he's going to take a leaf out of his competitor's book in the form of Will Robusto and make a run out of turn 9. Kohlbecker's certainly thinking about doing so for the lead on Fletcher. He's going to get a good run, but a great launch off of turn 9 for Jeremy Fletcher. An even better one, though, for Max Schweid. Watch him.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting. Pops to the outside out of the kink of 10 as they hop on the binders for turn 11 to set up the most important corner on the racetrack. That long run towards that 1 kilometer straightaway. Schweid trying the switchback, giving himself plenty of room to run, but it's a little bit better of an exit for Ethan Ayers.
It's a little bit better of a run, but he's going to be about side by side. Oh! That's Will Robusto, a 3-second time penalty being issued, and getting forced off the track there is Max Schweid. Ethan Ayers pushing the number 98 all the way to driver's left, but it's going to be Schweid in the better line down into turn 12. Let's see if he can outbrake the opponent. Contact there between the two. Schweid's got the position.
Both keeping it on the black stuff, but here comes Will Robusto carrying that 3-second time penalty for multiple track limits violations. I was starting to wonder if Will Robusto had burned up too much of his tires. No, he has closed up out of this battle with these two fighting, and now he's wedged himself between. He sets his sights on Schweid. He's had to look at the back end of that 98 car for most of this race, but he could see a podium just in his grasp.
And I don't want to take anything away from the talent level we've seen from Jeremy Fletcher and Spike Kohlbecker, but my goodness gracious, the racecraft, the aggression, and the driving that we have seen from Schweid and Robusto has been nothing short of exemplary.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's impressive even that Kohlbecker and Fletcher have been a bit of a non-story in terms of coming to blows. They've left each other room, they've raced each other hard, and I have a feeling they're saving a little bit for the last couple of minutes of this race.
I think they are as well, but now the big question, if I'm sitting in these front two positions, is Kohlbecker's lost a little bit of ground here to Jeremy Fletcher. My question is how does Max Schweid complicate this matter? We've seen what Ethan Ayres has been like in this third place position, relatively content to ride around, not looking too aggressive. Albert Ramos coming through pit lane, it looks like. I'm not sure if that was a penalty or if that is an issue there for the number 17. But back to my point with Schweid, what is he going to do? What is he going to do when he gets to the back of Spike Kohlbecker? How aggressive is he going to be, and how much does he want to fight to be able to gain one more spot on this podium?
DJ, I think aggressive is the name of the game. Max Schweid tried a lot of different passing places in Sonoma. It worked well for him, got himself up onto a podium because he had to fight for it. That's exactly what he's going to do here. You got nothing to lose if you're Max Schweid. You're in this title hunt. You're super, super quick. You're one of the craftiest guys on track. I say you use it.
I think you're right. That'd be my natural inclination, but there's a reason why I've got a headset on and not a helmet. So we will see what they decide to do. Meanwhile, farther back, Beltray, Curtis, Ethan Goulart battling for 6th place. It's Curtis that has the advantage right now, but Goulart looking for something down the back straight.
Great racing, giving himself plenty of room to work with. You can see Nico Colby in the back of the shop, but now it's just a drag race all the way down into that hard braking zone of turn 12. Ethan Goulart way shallow over line, but you can start to affect things in the aero balance of your competitor's car by closing up on them and trying to use that side draft to your advantage. That's exactly what they're doing. You see them come in, weave apart, come in, weave apart. Goulart, though, a little bit later on the brakes, but is it too late with Curtis behind?
Nope, that's a beautiful line. Little wide there to carry just enough momentum. Beltray going to try to fight back around the outside of turn 13. I don't think it's going to work. Goulart feeds him to the outside. Whoa. Curtis still looking for it. And now he's going to give a little bit of a bump and run there, and you saw the little bit of the right front fender on the 72. Oh my goodness, that's something wrong for Max Schweid.
Max Schweid is slow. He is slow in Sector 3. Disastrous. That's a driver that could have been in the mix for the race win, and he has had something go terribly wrong. Sportingly, he has pulled off. Smoke coming out of that car. Not sure if that's just heat from the brakes, but either way, something not operating correctly. We've gone full course yellow. DJ, this could be a final couple-minute shootout, but heartbreak for Max Schweid. What a brilliant comeback effort this had been.
I had a chance to talk to Max a little bit earlier on. There's a big donut there on the number 51 machine. That's Massimo Sinceri. I don't think that's related, but I had a chance to talk to Max earlier in this weekend. He said I was feeling fast, he felt good, and he said the only thing that's keeping us away is that Spike has just been able to take this to another level, and we've just got to match that. He matched it here today, and just something outside of his control taking it away from him.
Yeah, this is where your heart just really sinks for a racing driver in these scenarios. You hear the phrase all the time, that's racing, and yes, while that rings true, it's so, so heartbreaking. For Robusto, this has implications too, DJ.
Yeah, this is going to be terrible for Robusto. Remember, he's got that 3-second time penalty. He did not want to see a yellow flag come out. He was looking at maybe losing one position, maybe two. But now, I mean, if you look at the breakdown, 1.3 seconds behind the leader. If you go 3 seconds back, you're looking at losing 4 or 5, maybe 6 spots, depending on how close this is. And that is when they're running at speed. If they bunch up again, who knows how many he'll lose.
We saw a big sigh from Max Schweid as he got out of the car. He examined the front right of that race car. I do wonder, with some of the smoke coming from that area, some of that wheel banging, if there's something we didn't see in a camera shot as he was coming through and fighting for position, some kind of issue that may have forced him to pull off the road. But either way, heartbreaking. But you're absolutely right for Robusto. This was said to be a phenomenal result for him. He wouldn't have really lost all that much ground, but now it's a completely different story, and he's seconds ticking and ticking away. That's precious time that he does not have to try to rectify that 3-second time penalty.
As there is Max. Oh, you can just see the frustration there from the young driver. Oh, that's not how he wanted it to end, but let's think a little bit more about points implications here. I know we're only in round 3, but let's think about this. I mean, if you're Spike Kohlbecker, this is kind of best case scenario. Robusto's got a penalty. Schweid is out of this race. If you're not able to make the move and pass Jeremy Fletcher, you know Fletcher is farther down the order. Yes, he's going to gain 8 or so points on you, 7 or 8 points, but it's not going to be enough to ruin your season.
I have to say, though, on the other side of that coin, if you're Jeremy Fletcher, this might be a very pivotal story in the context of the championship at the end of the year. When we get to the gala and who we hand the trophy to, it could come down to this restart.
Yeah. Yeah, if Jeremy's able to hold off a charging Spike Kohlbecker, he could very well point to this moment as the time that he was able to start to think about that championship. Now, it's going to be close here. Lap times that we have been running are about 229, 230s. That's roughly in the area that we've been doing it. We're going to keep our eyes on the flag stand because there's a chance that they may display the white flag here. There's 4 minutes left to go in this race. Again, 230s, that's at full speed. You double that, it's about 5 minutes. There's a real chance this thing finishes under yellow.
If you're Spike Kohlbecker, you're getting on the radio saying, tell that super to go faster.
Well, it's actually an GR86 on this one. All right, I see the yellow. Oh, no, they changed it this year. And there it is, final lap. Yellow and white.
Oh,
this will be the final lap. And as we said earlier, disaster if you are Will Robusto. They're going to come across the line here bunched up. Let's try to do a little bit of math and see how far down the order he will fall. 3 seconds, again, the gap. That's going to put him roughly around 8th or 9th position.
Oh, disastrous. And it takes away from what was a phenomenal comeback drive from 20th on the grid, being handed the gift of a podium position with a misfortune for the 98 Max Schweid. Just fell afoul of the track limits penalties because he was pushing so hard. But that's why the rules are in place, and race control doing what they said they would and policing that exactly as they said they would in the driver's briefing.
Yeah, I mean, we've had the chance to be able to go over that briefing, and it's something that they are very consistent about. And to those watching, it may look a little bit different than other series that run here, but the rule is that it's that outside white line. If you get all 4 tires off of that line, you are considered outside of the track. Only difference is going through the S's in terms of shortcuts. But we normally don't fall too afoul of that. Where we mainly run into it is running wide around the circuit. But nevertheless, you've got a feel for him there. The number 70 there on your screen. That, of course, being Jay Thomas for SRO Motorsports. Good run for Jay, has to be said. Let's take a look as they will finish in this order. Your WEC's highest finishing Legends driver will be number 77 of Alcia Arujo. Great job for them in BSI Racing. They'll be very happy about that.
Was in the wall not too long ago.
Yeah, and able to recover, bring back through. Great job for BSI Racing and them. Mate Caceres looks like something happened to them. They came down pit lane. Only 4 laps completed there. Unfortunate for Mate. Ava Schlitz is 19th, which means that Peyton Fan will be your Endava highest finishing female in 17th place.
Yeah, solid mid pack from Peyton. We've seen some good pace, some solid pace. Her carve her way up the order on a couple of different occasions this season. You feel for it. Right by our commentary window, we saw the 98 roll by, and your heart just sinks because what an exciting finish we were set up for. If you're Jeremy Fletcher, though, this is an ideal situation. Of course, you still have Spike Kohlbecker coming away with a good haul of points, but absolute maximization for the 22 driver. Started at the front of the field and did not relinquish the position. Yes, we'll finish under safety car, but it's still a win.
He did what he needed to do. He needed to come into this race, score more points than Spike Kohlbecker, and win in the process. That's exactly what Jeremy Fletcher did. That is the mark of a champion, and that is the mark of somebody who's clearly got the ability and the tenacity to be able to fight Spike Kohlbecker for a championship here in 2026. You are right, that is a Supra. As it brings its way back down and on through, take a moment, raise a glass if you are out at the track for the number 22 machine, because this was a inspired drive for Jeremy Fletcher. A lot of defense, a lot of looking in that rearview mirror, but what a job he did.
Speaking of defense, another Copeland driver to mention, Beltre Curtis, who finishes 6th, and Nico Colby on your professional debut, a 7th face finish. Tremendous. Oh, this is interesting. Robusto has bunched the pack up, and now he's gotten on the loud pedal to try to minimize that gap. You have to stay within a delta. Oh, and there's contact at the end. That's Ethan Goulart in the wall.
That's Ethan Goulart off and into the wall, and I have got to think that Race Control is going to be taking a very, very dim view of that from Will Robusto.
Yeah, I was going to say that accordion effect, I believe, is what caused that. It was Will Robusto trying to minimize the effect of his 3-second time penalty, but the knock-on effect is that we've got a car in the wall. Look at Robusto. And, oh, it's just checking up, isn't it? Yeah, Goulart had nowhere to go.
Yeah, that was Beltre Curtis, I think, that ran into the back of him. And just, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. That is the danger in trying to play those games under yellow flag conditions. And that number 72 is hit. I mean,
yes,
that is a very, very big kathunk into that inside retaining wall. Thankfully, Ethan up and out of the car, but you got to imagine he is not happy right now.
No, and I can't imagine anyone in the BSI camp is happy with that. Some gamesmanship. Sometimes you just have to swallow the pill and say, you know what, I've got a penalty. It sucks, but it is what it is. And in this situation, and unfortunately, the knock-on effect is we've got a driver in the wall. Glad he's okay, but that car, that BSI crew is going to be up late.
I was going to say, they're going to have a lot of work to do overnight, especially considering the fact that that's at least 2 corners taken out on that. Maybe more, a little hard to tell.
And what was a good result for Goulart, too?
That was a great result. Nice top 10. Good confirmation of form. Let's go ahead and take a look at the final results here. There's that contact there. The big flag, but as we said, Jeremy Fletcher able to take victory over Spike Kohlbecker, Ethan Ayers, and Goulart in 4th. This is after that penalty has been applied. Beltre Curtis 5th, Robusto ending down in 9th.
Yeah, you called it, DJ. Right inside the top 10. Ethan Goulart, despite the damage, still classified 4th. Of course, we'll see if there's any decisions post-race, but Copeland Motorsports 5th and 6th with Beltre Curtis and Nico Colby. A great drive from Jensen Sofronis, another solid top 10. Great haul of points for him for Copeland Motorsports. That's a great day under the Copeland camp as well. We've talked throughout the season about how hungry they have been. But again, you feel for the 98 and the heartbreak for Max Schweid. It was a comeback effort cut short, and it was a comeback effort cut short in a very different way for Will Robusto in the form of a penalty and then some accordion effect that had an unfortunate knock-on for BSI Racing at the end.
As we look down through the rest of the order, we mentioned it already, but we'll go ahead and give some more credit. Copeland Motorsports Peyton Fan will be able to take that Endava highest finishing female, and Arujo will be able to claim that WEX Legends Award. So very, very happy for them. And here they come back down around the carousel, coming back down into victory lane.
Yeah, drama right to the end. Didn't matter that we were under safety car, DJ. We still had fireworks at the end of that race. Certainly not what you'd like, and I have a sinking feeling that Will Robusto might be in a little bit of trouble after this one. Of course, I never want to speak on behalf of the stewards because I'm certainly not one. But either way, we have a couple damaged race cars. Beltre Curtis has the front end of the number 5 pretty crunched up as well.
Yeah, and we do see a message from Race Control that incident involving car 72 is under review. So as you join back with us tomorrow for that race, we will keep you informed of that. By the way, just a quick note, that race will be with you at about 10:40 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. As medical car actually bringing everyone down here through pit lane. So they're going to peel off, as that was a pretty hefty impact, so I have to imagine that Ethan, hops in the back of the med car. They'll take a look at Ethan, make sure everything is okay. And there you can really see the damage on that number 72.
Climbed out under his own power, though, which is, of course, the most important. These cars will then start to make their way towards victory lane. And you can finally start to sigh a little bit of relief if you're Jeremy Fletcher. My goodness, what a stressful race that was with all the pressure behind, but so composed, so poised from Jeremy Fletcher to face some of that pressure behind. Spike Kohlbecker had a couple half looks. He tried to force Jeremy into a mistake. Wasn't rattled right from the beginning.
No, he wasn't. He withstood all the pressure, no matter what it was, and another victory here for Copeland Motorsports. One of the dominant forces in this Toyota GR Cup North America Series. Fletch, as he is known, gets out of the car, takes his seat, and that is a happy, happy driver right there. Big hugs all the way around, Jonathan.
Big haul of points. That's what you want heading into qualifying and race 2 tomorrow. You want to assert yourself as the top dog here in Texas. He was quick around the streets of Arlington, took a win in the first round of the season with those first couple of races, but Spike Kohlbecker was right there with him after a good run for Spike. This is now a big punch from the Copeland driver and from Jeremy Fletcher.
A big hug from Mom there, and a big heads up and how you doing from his teammates and those around him. Happiness down on victory lane, as there he gets the Continental neck adornment and hat, and we go down to Amanda Busick, who's got our race winner.
Taken in this moment, and we just talked off camera about he knew what he had to do down here, bouncing back from Sonoma. What was your mindset heading into this one, Jeremy?
Come in here and win everything I can. It doesn't matter if it's practice. You give it everything you got, every session of the weekend. Hope you can come out on top, and at the end of the day, I think we did that just right today. The whole Cope Motorsports crew. This is Ethan Copeland's 20th win as a car chief, so super proud to get that for him. Told him I was going to get it by 20 seconds, not 2 inches under yellow flag, but I'm happy I could do that for him today.
Why is this championship still wide open?
There's a lot of things that happen. I mean, I had some unfortunate events. It wasn't really anything that anybody could control. So there's always optimism out there.
Congratulations, Jeremy. We're going to head over to Spike Kohlbecker if I can track him down. I did see him, and he's moved on a little bit. I see Ethan. Let's go ahead and go over to Ethan. Ethan, I am going to talk to you just really quickly about your podium finish and just also, like, of course for yourself, but everything that BSI has gone through this week. How much is this a team victory?
Oh, it's absolutely a team victory. You know, they put the car together for me, and I just drive it. That's it. But we were literally on fire before we came to the racetrack. Yeah, the toter caught on fire on the way down here. So these guys have zero quit in their game. You know, they always do their best no matter what challenges them, whether it's fire, whether it's setup, anything. They don't quit. So I'm not going to quit with them.
Nice job, Ethan. I'm going to make it over to Spike Kohlbecker really quick. Just talk to him about those fastest laps there at the end. Spike, I'm going to come track you down here, bud. I know that's not how you wanted it to end. Would you have had it?
I was waiting for the end. I was telling Fletcher to build the gap there and just trying my best to preserve the tires. It's so hot here. So, you know, taking care of the car, and the curbs are so big, and the temperature and the tires, just trying to focus for the long run. And maybe I should have used a little bit more, but it is what it is, and good points, and I'm happy, and got great supporters here and people watching at home, so I couldn't be more grateful.
We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, thanks.
A very calm, cool, and collected Spike Kohlbecker, a very happy Jeremy Fletcher, and a great story about BSI racing. As we take one last look at the Texas flag, let us go back and take a look at the amazing race that was here today. Starting out at Circuit of the Americas, it was Jeremy Fletcher on pole, and it was Jeremy Fletcher's day. Big fan out coming into turn one as everyone tried to be able to make up as many positions as possible. It was a fight from Spike Kohlbecker. It was a heartbreak here from Liam Harrison, which brought out our first yellow flag of the day. At the restart, things started to kick off once again, Jonathan.
Yes, they certainly did. Jeremy Fletcher at the front of the field had pressure from Ethan Ayers. He had pressure from Spike Kohlbecker. He did everything right. He was calm. It was composed. He kept his nose clean, and I think that made the difference. Consistency wins championships, and it was his day today from pole.
Clean move down to the inside for Spike Kohlbecker. There was Max Schweid making his way up forward, and then it was heartbreak for Max Schweid as he brought out the final caution flag, meaning that Jeremy Fletcher would come home. A little bit of consternation at the very end, and instead will be reviewed after race. But at the end of the day, it was Jeremy Fletcher. All right, that concludes our racing here today. That is your look at the live championship. Still a big gap up at the front of the field, but Fletcher's starting to make his way back in. We'll be back at you tomorrow. On behalf of all of us here, my name is DJ Clark, and it's been a pleasure bringing you the racing today.